night in Gotham was burning, thick with smoke and sirens, as Batman sprinted across the rooftops in relentless pursuit of the Riddler. Batman fired his grapple gun into the dark metal claws hooking into concrete as he hurled himself forward without hesitation. His cape snapped violently behind him, catching the heat rising from the fire. Tonight, there was no room for failure, not with the Riddler slipping through the maze of building. Batman landed hard on the next rooftop, rolling into a crouch to absorb the impact before springing back to his feet. Ahead, the Riddler was just visible, green coat swirling behind him as he bolted for the rooftop access door. Desperate to escape down into the stairwell, Batman narrowed his eyes, knowing if the criminal made it inside, the chase would get messy fast. Without breaking stride, he pulled a batarang from his belt and hurled it with a sharp snap of his arm. The blade sliced through the air, but the Riddler dodged at the last second, slipping through the door just before the weapon struck the frame. Batman lunged towards the door and saw the Riddler spiraling downward almost 2 flights below. Already, Batman couldn't let him disappear, not tonight. Dashing down the stairs, Batman closed the distance and followed the Riddler into a dim, half-constructed room. The space was littered with tools, broken boards, and sheets of tarp covering the windows. Batman scanned the room, his eyes adjusting instantly to the darkness. Near the center of the floor, he spotted something out of place, a small detonator lying abandoned among dust and debris. He crouched down, lifted it carefully, and studied its surface. Alfred's voice crackled through the call in Batman's cowl, asking, "Did you get him, Bruce?" But before Batman could answer, a faint shift in air pressure flicked across the back of his neck. Someone was behind him. He whipped his head around just in time to see a shadow swinging a shovel toward him. The blow landed with full force, sending Batman crashing backward as the flimsy construction window gave way and he fell through into open air. Wrapped in a tangle of construction sheeting, Batman plummeted several stories, barely able to brace himself. His body struck the side of the building, impact rattling through his ribs before the final plunge sent him crashing through a balcony railing. A terracotta pot shattered under him, soil exploding outward as he slammed onto the cold cement floor. Motionless for a moment, blood seeped from fresh wounds. Then the balcony door creaked open, soft footsteps approached, a delicate hand touched his bruised face as a woman breathed out a startling, "Oh my." She didn't scream, she didn't run. Batman was just lying there unconscious at her feet. Time passed before Batman's eyelids twitched and he forced himself to awake. The ceiling above him wasn't familiar. It wasn't the manor, the cave, or any place he'd ever meant to be. Bandages tightened around his shoulder and torso. The glow of a bedside clock read 3:35 a.m. Batman rasped out, "What happened?" A soft voice answered from the doorway. A woman in a bathrobe stepped into view, hesitant but calm. She explained that he had fallen onto her balcony, that she dragged him inside before anyone could see. She couldn't believe Batman was in her bedroom. His instincts kicked in as he sat up straighter, demanding,
"Who are you?"
But she quickly held up a hand and whispered for him to keep his voice down. There was a 6-year-old child sleeping in the next room. Batman slid to the edge of the mattress, wincing as the deep cut in his shoulder throbbed. The woman stepped closer, pointing out that the wound was serious, but she'd done what she could. She wasn't a nurse, she said, but she assumed he wouldn't want her calling 911 and inviting half the city into her apartment. Batman adjusted the bandage with a quiet grunt and replied, "No, thank you." He stood and began slipping back into the upper half of his suit. The woman watched him with a mix of awe and unfiltered honesty. She remarked that he clearly worked out like a lot. Then her tone softened, telling him her kid loved him, that most of Gotham did. Most of Gotham, she said, trusted Batman more than the police. That made him stop. He looked at her with something almost like surprise. He admitted, "I thought they were afraid of me." She shook her head, telling him only the ones who deserve to be afraid should feel that way. Then she added that everyone else knew the truth. Batman, confused, asked,
"What's not true?"
As Batman fastened his cape, the woman finally continued. She told him he didn't kill Mayor Cobblepot, no matter what rumors were circulating. The mayor had been shot, she said, and Batman didn't use guns. Then she lifted something between her fingers. A batarang she must have found tangled in his cape when she dragged him inside. "Just these," she said, holding it up only to flinch when she accidentally pricked her fingertip on the sharpened edge. A bead of blood surfaced as she muttered a quick, "Ow!" Batman immediately stepped forward to reclaim the weapon. He told her,
"That's enough questions."
The woman immediately apologized. Batman admitted he was sorry for crashing into her home. She shrugged it off, insisting it was only a couple of flower pots he destroyed. Batman pulled a few hundred from his belt and placed the bills into her hand, telling her to buy new ones. As he stepped toward the door, he gave her one last look and promised,
"I'll send flowers."
She smiled, still holding the money, watching him disappear into the hallway. Later, Batman spoke to Alfred over the comm. Alfred referred to him as Romeo, while bringing up one last detail, the flowers Batman had asked him to send to the woman's apartment. Batman asked, "Did you?" Alfred sighed, saying he tried. But according to the delivery man, the moment he arrived, the man living there yelled, Alfred explained that the owner of the apartment had been out of town the night Batman crashed in, and while he was gone, someone robbed the place. Alfred reminded Bruce that Gotham hadn't been cured of anything yet. Then Alfred told him,
"See, Bruce, you might have worked out who you are, but in Gotham, you never know who anyone else really is."
And far from the chaos, curled up in a pink silk bedspread, with money scattered like confetti around her, the truth revealed itself. The woman Batman believed he had stumbled upon by chance was none other than Catwoman. She lay smiling, a satisfied grin on her lips. Between her fingers, she twirled the same batarang she had pretended to examine earlier. She lets out a gentle meow, her black cat purred while she scratched its head. She looked completely at ease, amused at how perfectly the night had played out. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel.